started on. Bshraia, the floor is now yours, please.
Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you, moderator. I think at this stage, all issues in relation with the international law, the African law, the European law, when it comes to Western Sahara now, they are crystal clear for everybody. Also, the practicalities in relation with the companies involved in the plundering of the natural resources of the people of Western Sahara. As a representative of the Frente Polisario, which is the legitimate representative of the people entitled to the rights of self-determination, I would like to shed some lights on the cost. I would retain the expression of Manuel of delaying the application of the international law in Western Sahara. But from another perspective, that of an insider, which would go from the national level at the Sahrawi level until the international level, especially to the level of the UN. On the Sahrawi level, I think the cost is dramatic, really. Human lives have been lost, disappearances. So I think Galia is here, so she has been disappeared for many years. Some other Sahrawis spent 15 years disappeared. Still, we are having many political prisoners in the prisons of Morocco. The drama of families that they are separated for now, basically 50 years. One part is under occupation, living all the reality of the occupation that you know, in terms of the repression, the poverty, the social and the racial exclusion, and the other one is living as refugees with the hard conditions that you know, in exile for 50 years now, depending on the international humanitarian aid. So basically, that's the cost of the delay of the application of the international law at the level of the Sahrawi people. When we go down to Morocco, where the brotherly people of Morocco are also paying their part of the price of this non-application of the international law in Western Sahara and the continuation of the occupation. The brotherly people of Morocco, they are paying the price on many issues, but especially on two. The first one is the fact that the occupation of Western Sahara has generated a sort of political situation with all the narratives that are feeding the authoritarian nature of the regime itself, postponing basically the possibility of having a genuine democracy in Morocco, with the main argument that we are having one priority now, which is the territorial integrity, and that we need to rally behind the regime in this, and anybody that can challenge this thesis, of course, would be facing repression and facing prison. The last example that everybody was saying is the fact that many journalists, they have been sent to prison just because of one or two words challenging this official thesis on the occupation of Western Sahara. And the second price, major price that the brotherly people in Morocco are paying is on the socio-economic level, where you know that Morocco is being classified by the UN in the last Human Development Index on the 120th position. The official statistics around the deficit of the budget, the government budget, basically it's over $2 billion on July 2025, and where it has been only 1.3 in 2024. The unemployment rate is very high. The multi-dimensional poverty is, according to the UN, around 42% among the population. The illiteracy rate around 30% of the population, and You know, knowing that according to some viable reports, only between the period of 1975 to 1991, Morocco spent around $120 billion to finance its occupation of Western Sahara, and the same cost is going on. Just imagine that this, a huge amount of money has been invested to serve the Moroccan people and to work on the social, to improving the conditions. And I think that's really a very heavy price that is being paid by the people, by the Moroccan people. The third level, it's on the regional level, where historically the conflict in Western Sahara and the continued occupation of Western Sahara is the major impediment for the Maghreb Union project to prosper. You know, a region with a very big potential, both human and economic, now basically is being put on hold with no possibilities to move to that union because of the invasion of Western Sahara in 1975 and the continuation of the occupation of the territory. Of course, you may say as an outsider that the conflict is a low intensity conflict, but we think that there is a very serious and big potential for the conflict really to be to destabilize the region. We know that the ongoing tensions between the countries in the region, so that's really a threat that is there. And of course, the non-application of the international law on Western Sahara is allowing Morocco to continue with its expansionist intentions that goes even sometimes beyond the region. Morocco, unfortunately, is the only country in the world that doesn't have any of its borders formally ratified with any one of its neighbors. From the north, there is a problem with Spain. The east, there are always, references in the official narratives around the western border of Algeria, a continuation of the occupation of Western Sahara with the Canary Islands. So it's basically an open territory that is not ratified yet, and that's on the regional level. On the fourth level, it's at the African level, where you know that since 1984, basically Western Sahara was instrumentalized by Morocco. First during the OAU period, and now within the AU, basically to destabilize the organization, where we reached some points where the organization was at the point basically to collapse. It's just because of the Moroccan behaviors. The last shameful image that we have experienced, that was the one that everybody saw in Tokyo in August last year, within the TCAD, where basically the Moroccan diplomats, military tried to retrieve the SADR plate in front of the Sahrawi diplomats. And of course, the denial of Morocco to ratify the Human Rights Charter of the African Union is having an impact on the operational part of those protocols. And the fifth level would be at the European level, which was already Manuel touched on. But we think that all those strategic partnership economic agreements that have been with the possibility to be signed by the European Union and the Maghreb countries, they have been challenged largely because of the occupation of Western Sahara. And now, as we know, the possibility of economic cooperation, especially with the region, is being affected also by the illegal agreements that Morocco is forcing the European Union to sign with, including the territory of Western Sahara, which would be a direct violation of the European Court of Justice decisions. a practical cost for the European Union would be the fact that the agreements so far, they have been annulled by the European Court of Justice. But the symbolic cost for the European Union is also there, that the message that has been projected outside the European Union is not an organization of rule of law, and it's really directly financing the military occupation of another territory, which is Western Sahara. And at the sixth level, which is at the UN, the cost, I know that much has been said in this regard by the speakers, distinguished speakers in this panel, but I think the failure of the UN is really a sort of bookcase to show how the UN was not able, a total failure in a process, unfortunately, but that had all the possibilities to succeed at the beginning. The UN failed to organize a referendum of self-determination, basically after doing 80% of the job since 1991 to 2000. The UN also is failing to grant any sort of international protection for the people of Western Sahara, especially in terms of the human rights, and the failure also to preserve and monitor adequately the natural resources of the territory that is under a decolonization process led by the UN, by the United Nations. And now, after 35 years, basically, of the deployment of the MINURSO, unfortunately, some key members of the permanent members of the UN Security Council are buying in the Moroccan strategy to gain more time by doing a sort of promotion for the so-called plan of autonomy for Western Sahara. And of course, that plan, as you know, is contrary to the international law, and I think, as it has been explained earlier on, and I want to state that as Frente Polisario, our position is that only a genuine exercise of the right to self-determination to determine, by the people of Western Sahara, to determine the final status of the territory is the only viable, legal, practicable, and political solution to settle the conflict in Western Sahara. But at the same time, while stating this position, I think that the sponsors of those attempts to promote the Moroccan plan should make a question, which is basically a question of common sense. How come that an occupying power that has been all the time resisting and rejecting and refusing any mandate for the international community to monitor the human rights in the territory, barring the UN international mechanisms to visit Western Sahara since 2015, is ready to give any sort of autonomy to the people of Western Sahara, any possibility for the Sahrawis to live in dignified, free, and enjoy their rights of self-determination. I thank you.
Thank you.